They found a leather-bound Bible in the ruins of a burned-out church near Tombstone, Arizona, in the autumn of 1908. Pages charred at the edges, spine cracked from years of hard riding. But what stopped the salvage crew cold wasn't the book itself. It was what they found pressed between Psalms and Proverbs. 6 wanted posters, faded, blood-stained, each one marked with a small cross drawn in ink, and on the inside cover written in a steady hand, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, but I would sin again to save them. Josiah Weaver, 1884. But the story behind those words began 14 years before that fire, when a man of God rode into the town of Redemption, New Mexico, carrying a Bible in one hand and secrets darker than any desert night in the other. The year was 1894, and Josiah Weaver wasn't running from sin. He was riding straight toward it. Redemption was the kind of town the West built and forgot. A scatter of weathered buildings clinging to life in the shadow of blood-red mesas. Dust devils danced through empty streets. Saloon doors creaked in the wind like coffin lids. Josiah Weaver rode in at dusk, sitting tall in the saddle despite the miles behind him. Black coat, white collar, a preacher's uniform worn honest. But his eyes told a different story. Gray as gun smoke, haunted by things no sermon could wash clean. He hitched his horse outside the Silver Spur Saloon and walked inside. The room fell silent. Card games paused. Whiskey glasses stopped halfway to lips, because in Redemption, strangers meant trouble, and preachers meant judgment. Josiah walked to the bar, slow and deliberate. The bartender, a scarred man named Dutch, eyed him with the wariness of someone who'd buried too many good men. "We got a church," Dutch said flatly. "Other end of town. You're in the wrong place, preacher." Josiah set his Bible on the bar. "I'm exactly where I need to be." From the back corner, a voice cut through the smoke and tension. "Let him stay, Dutch. I want to hear what a man of God has to say to sinners like us." The voice belonged to Jack Hollister, outlaw, killer, the kind of man who smiled when he pulled the trigger. He sat with his gang, 5 hard men with harder eyes, cards spread before him like prophecy. Josiah turned to face him. "I'm not here to preach." Hollister's smile widened. "Then why are you here?" "I'm looking for someone." "Who?" Josiah's voice was as quiet as a grave. "Myself." 3 days later, Josiah was still in Redemption. He'd taken a room above the general store, spent his mornings reading scripture, his afternoons walking the dusty streets. He didn't preach, didn't judge, just watched. And Jack Hollister watched back. On the 4th night, Hollister cornered him outside the saloon as thunder rolled across the mesa tops. "You're no preacher," Hollister said, cigarette glowing between his teeth. "I seen preachers. You ain't one." Josiah met his eyes. "I wear the collar." "So did Judas, probably." Hollister flicked ash into the wind. "What are you really, Weaver?" For a long moment, Josiah said nothing. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out something small, a photograph. He handed it to Hollister. The outlaw studied it by moonlight. A young woman, beautiful, smiling beside a younger version of Josiah, no collar then, just a marshal's badge. Her name was Sarah, my wife. We were married 3 years before your brother killed her. The air between them crystallized like frost. Hollister's hand drifted toward his gun. "My brother's dead." "I know. I killed him." "Then why?"
because killing him didn't bring her back. Josiah's voice cracked like old wood. It just made me a murderer with a badge. So I turned it in, took up the Bible instead. Thought maybe God could wash the blood off my hands. Hollister's jaw tightened. And, still waiting for an answer. Lightning split the sky. In that flash, Josiah saw it, the recognition in Hollister's eyes. Not anger, something deeper, understanding. "You came here to kill me," Hollister said, not a question. "No." Josiah took the photograph back, hands trembling. "I came here to see if I still wanted to."
Word spread fast in a town like Redemption. By sunrise, everyone knew. The preacher was a killer, the outlaw's enemy, grief and vengeance wrapped in black cloth. The town expected blood, but Josiah didn't draw, and Hollister didn't shoot. Instead, something strange happened. They talked. It started at the well behind the church. Josiah was hauling water when Hollister appeared, hat in hand, looking almost sheepish. "My brother was a bastard," Hollister said bluntly. "Mean drunk, killed for fun. I ain't saying you were wrong." Josiah set the bucket down. "Doesn't make it right." "Nope, but it makes it human." They stood in silence, two men bound by violence and loss. "She was pregnant," Josiah said suddenly. "Sarah, 3 months. I was going to be a father." His voice broke. "Your brother took that from me, took everything." Hollister looked away. "My brother took things from me too, before you killed him, I mean. Took my childhood, my trust, my hope that family meant something." "You mourned him?" "No." Hollister's laugh was bitter. "I mourned who he could have been. That's worse." Josiah looked at this killer, this man society had damned, and saw something he hadn't expected. Humanity. "Why do you ride with them?" Josiah asked, nodding toward the saloon where Hollister's gang waited. "You're smarter than that life." Hollister shrugged. "Same reason you wear that collar. Trying to outrun what I am." "And what are you?" "Damned." Hollister met his eyes. "Same as you." 5 days into Josiah's stay, the law arrived. U.S. Marshal Tom Crawford rode into Redemption with a posse of 6 men, rifles gleaming, badges bright as judgment. He'd been tracking Hollister's gang for months, and now he had them cornered. The town erupted into chaos. Outlaws scrambled for weapons. Citizens barricaded doors. Children were rushed into cellars. And Josiah Weaver stood in the middle of the street, Bible in hand, facing Marshal Crawford. "Step aside, preacher," Crawford ordered. "This is law business." "Those men are under my protection," Josiah said calmly. Crawford's eyes narrowed. "You harboring outlaws now? That's a hanging offense." "Maybe, but I won't stand by and watch you massacre them." "They're killers." "So am I," Josiah's voice cut like a blade. "So are you. We've all got blood on our hands, Marshal. Difference is, I'm trying to do something about it." Behind him, the saloon doors creaked open. Hollister stepped out, hands raised, gang behind him. "He's right," Hollister called out. "We surrender. No bloodshed." Crawford spat into the dust. "You think I rode all this way to arrest you peaceable? You killed a judge's son in Santa Fe. They want you dead." "Then you'll have to kill me too," Josiah said quietly. The wind died. The world held its breath. Crawford's hand moved toward his pistol. "You die for scum like this?" Josiah smiled, sad and knowing. "Jesus did. Figured I'd try it once." What happened next became legend in Redemption. As Crawford's posse moved to surround the outlaws, Josiah stepped forward. He opened his Bible and began to read not Psalms or Proverbs, but something else. A list. Names. Dates. Crimes. Every killing Hollister's gang had committed, every robbery, every sin. But between each crime, Josiah added something the law didn't know: context. Jack Hollister killed a bank clerk in Tucson, 1892. But what the law didn't say, that bank foreclosed on his mother's ranch. She died in poverty 3 weeks later. Marcus Webb shot a sheriff's deputy in Silver City, but that deputy was raping Mexican women in the territory. Marcus's sister was one. Billy Carson rustled cattle from the Miller Ranch because Miller paid his ranch hands in scrip instead of cash, trapped them in debt slavery. One by one, Josiah read their sins and their reasons. Not excuses, not justifications, just truth. When he finished, the street was silent. Crawford's face was stone. "You think that changes anything?" "No," Josiah said, "but it makes them human, and humans deserve a chance at redemption. The law is broken, Marshal. You know it, I know it, hell, they know it." Josiah gestured to the outlaws. "I'm not asking you to forgive them, I'm asking you to let them try to earn it." Crawford studied him for a long moment. Then he looked at Hollister. "You'd stand trial, peaceful?" Hollister nodded slowly. "If the preacher speaks for us, yeah." Crawford holstered his gun. "You got one chance, Hollister. You run, I hunt you down like a dog." "Understood." The posse lowered their rifles. The town exhaled, and Josiah Weaver closed his Bible, hands shaking with relief and exhaustion.
The trial happened in Santa Fe 3 months later. Josiah testified for 2 days straight, laying bare not just the crimes but the circumstances, the broken system, the corruption, the desperation that drove men to violence. Jack Hollister and his gang were convicted, but instead of hanging, they received prison sentences, 7 years hard labor. The judge, a weary man named Blackwell, pulled Josiah aside afterward. "You saved their lives today, preacher." "No, Your Honor, I just told the truth." Blackwell smiled grimly. "Same thing in this world." Josiah left Santa Fe that evening. He rode back toward redemption, Bible in his saddlebag, soul a little lighter than before. He never saw Jack Hollister again, but 14 years later, in 1908, he received a letter. It was short, written in a careful hand. "Reverend Weaver, I served my time, got out last spring, started a ranch in Montana with Marcus and Billy. We're trying to live honest. Wanted you to know your faith wasn't wasted. J.H." Josiah kept that letter in his Bible, next to Sarah's photograph. And when the fire came in 1908, a lightning strike that consumed the church where he preached, he died trying to save that Bible. Not for the scripture, for the proof that redemption was real. The salvage crew found the Bible, the posters, the letter. They found Josiah Weaver's body too, burned beyond recognition, but still clutching that leather-bound book. They buried him in the Redemption Cemetery. No headstone, just a simple wooden cross. But every year after that, on the anniversary of his death, someone left fresh flowers on that grave, wildflowers from the mesa, and beside them, a note that always said the same thing: "Thank you for seeing the human in the killer. A friend." The handwriting changed over the years. Different people, different stories, but all of them touched by the preacher who rode with killers and showed them the way home.
They say the West keeps its secrets, every scar, every promise, every whispered trail. Some rode for vengeance, others for love, but a few just rode to prove that even the damned deserve a second chance. Josiah Weaver was a killer who became a preacher, a mourner who learned to forgive, a man who understood that the line between good and evil runs through every human heart. And sometimes the greatest act of faith isn't believing in God, it's believing in each other. Would you have done the same? Subscribe for more tales from whispering trails under the Wild West limits.